Natalia Bonner. Happy July! This month we are going to be stitching the Spider Star Quilt blog. Let's stitch a year of stars. Welcome if this is your first time here, or if you've been here before, welcome back. Now there are a few things that I do want to tell you about before we actually start stitching. First off, I want to tell you about our Facebook group. So we do have a Facebook group called Let's Stitch a Year of Stars. It's a fun resource. It's a great place to share your progress. And we have lots of fun giveaways and cool things over in that group. So do check that out. Also, we have a few workbooks that you might want to check out. Now, I have been stitching all of my blocks for the whole entire year on this really cool panel right here. This panel is a custom panel that's available for purchase through Honest Fabric. However, if you want to piece your own panel, we have a piecing workbook. So it teaches you step by step how to piece all 12 of these stars and the sashing, put it all together into a gorgeous quilt top. Now we also have a machine quilting workbook. In the machine quilting workbook, one page has the star with all of my machine quilting all illustrated. It's so cool, full color. And then on the second page, there's a blank star where you can sketch, doodle, and draw your own machine quilting designs. So much fun. I love these workbooks. You can check those out over on our website, pieceandquilt.com. We do have a few other workbooks and classes that you may also want to check out when you're over there. But in the meantime, let's get stitching. I'll start out this block design by stitching in the ditch all the way around the outside of the quilt block. I love the look of stitch in the ditch, so it's something you can kind of plan on that I'm probably going to do on pretty much all of my quilts. Once I have stitched in the ditch all the way around the outside, now I'm ready to dress up my block design. I'm starting out by stitching a point-to-point diamond in the outside corner block. I have not done any marking on that block. I'm just eyeballing it. Once I've done that, then I'll stitch in the ditch around the outside of this square. From the outside corner, now I'm going to stitch a straight line up to the center of the next pink point. From that center point, I'll stitch in the ditch out to the outside, and then again up to the center point. I'll repeat this process, working my way all the way to the center of my quilt block. When I get to the center of my quilt block, then I'm going to repeat that process, traveling back to the outside. So from the center to the outside point, up to the center again, and then back to the outside, working my way all the way out. Now, when I get to the outside of the block, I'm working on the panel here, so I do not have a ditch, but I will stitch as if there is a ditch along the side of those blocks right up to the center point. Then from there, I'm going to repeat that process, working back to the outside, this time on the blue fabrics. When I get to that outside corner block, then I'm again going to stitch that point-to-point diamond design through the center. Because I'm not marking, I'm lining up my mini 4-in-1 machine quilting ruler, so I stitch about a 1/2 inch from that point, the outside corner point, and then back to the opposite point. Once I've stitched that diamond, then I'll work back up to the center of the quilt block. This time when I get to the center, then I'm going to travel along the ditch to the outside of that pink one, where from there I'll stitch up to the center and then repeat the process, working my way back to the outside of that pink unit or section. Don't forget to stitch that point-to-point diamond when you get to the corner. And I will stitch in the ditch along the side of that block. Now I am using So Fine color number 402 thread across my whole entire quilt top. I use one color and kind of a contrast, but it still blends really nicely so that you can see it all on camera. You definitely could switch and change thread colors on each of these designs. Personally, on a majority of the quilts that I quilt, if I stick with a neutral color of So Fine, I can end up with some really great results. Once I've completed that pink section, then I will travel along the ditch, or as if there were a ditch there since I'm working on my panel, back to the outside of the block, work my way around the corner, and then from there I'll travel back to the inside. Once I'm back at the inside of my block, I'll repeat the process, stitching those angular lines from the inside to the outside all the way through the blue section. Again, don't forget to stitch that point-to-point diamond in your corner. From there, then stitch those angular lines right back up to the center of the quilt block. From that center point, now I have the stitching on all of those angular units all complete. Now I'm ready to work on the 4 triangles that are on the outside of the block design. The first thing I want to do is make sure that I have stitched in the ditch along the outside of each of those triangle units. Once I've stitched along the outside of each of those triangle units, now I'm going to move in 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to stitch an inside echo that's 1/4 of an inch from the top side of each of those triangles, lining up my machine quilting ruler so the side of the ruler is right on top of the outside of those units. From there, now I'm going to move in and stitch one more inside echo line that's 1/2 inch in from the previous stitch line. So lining up my machine quilting ruler so the 1/2 inch marking is right on top of the previous stitch line. From there, one more line inside echo that's 1/4 of an inch on the inside. After I stitch that, now I'm going to fill in that triangle unit that I've created, the smaller triangle, with some loops. I'll start out small and I'm going to gradually increase the size of those, filling in all the way up to the center of that triangle. From there, once I get all the way to the top center, then I'll start making them small again and working my way back to the outside. I'll repeat this same process, quilting that same design on all 4 of those remaining triangles. Once I've completed this block design, if there is any marking that I've done, I'll go through and mist away those marked points. Then from there, I've got a beautiful quilt block design. Now, if you do want even more inspiration, another version of this quilt block, make sure you do hop over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/Natalia Bonner, for more quilts and quilt block inspiration. Have a great day, everybody.